Hello everyone, welcome to my video about this extremely interesting but also heated topic. Today I'm going to talk to you about HS, auto-inflammatory, autoimmune. It's a huge heated discussion in most HS communities, on Facebook groups, everywhere, because there's a lot of confusion. Maybe it helps some of you to get to know your HS better and to understand it to the point where, well, there is something to understand, because we all know that the cause of this disease is still unknown. So first, let me tell you, I am Suzanne. I'm from the Netherlands, from Amsterdam. I have been dealing with HS for 21 years now, which is a pretty long time. I have HS on about 60% of my body, so that's a lot. I went through different stages, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. At the moment I'm a stage 1 because I found a treatment that works really well for me. But I used to be stage 3, severe stage 3, with a lot of tunneling and on places that are also more atypical for HS as well as typical places for HS. The last couple of years I've been trying to read up a lot about this disease, mainly because I was interested in trying a different kind of treatment. So for that I wanted to know everything there is about this disease, and met some very interesting people and started taking on HS advocacy to help people, to help other patients, to show my scars, show my HS spots in newspapers, on television. And part of that is HS awareness. And with awareness, I don't mean only showing scars and HS spots, but also sharing facts and research. Because as we all know, there's a lot of confusion about this disease among patients, among relatives of patients, as well as doctors and ER staff and nurses. So this is a big frustration. So HS awareness and knowing facts and knowing the research that's out there is extremely important as a patient. So this is why I'm making this video today. So I have my little note because there's a lot to discuss about this topic. What I noticed in HS groups, that as soon as somebody posts is HS, autoimmune, there is a ton of reaction. A lot of people get angry, say it's not. Other people get frustrated, say it is. There's a lot of going back and forth. Other people saying, I don't even care what it is. So it's clearly a topic that is pretty hot with most HS patients. So I've been doing a lot of research on my part on this. I spoke to a lot of famous HS doctors that do a lot of research into HS, and today I'm going to present to you my findings. Also, you can find in the description of this video, I will post up links to all the research. If you think otherwise on the end of this video, that's fine, but please do present facts. So if you think I am in the wrong with my conclusion in this topic, that's fine, but please send me the links to your research, because I love to read it, because if I'm wrong, I want to know. And then I want to make a new video telling otherwise. But as far as I talk to these big doctors that do a lot of HS research, as well as all the research journals and transcripts I could find, these are the findings that are out there at this moment as we speak. Of course, nothing is 100% sure in life. The same goes with this disease, but I'm going to talk to you about what I found. So let's start off with what I'm going to tell you today. I'm going to talk about research, the research there is among this topic within HS, and also kind of the research in general. I'm going to tell you what happens in your body when it comes to autoimmune or the immune system at all. I'm going to tell you the frequently used reasons I hear why people say it is autoimmune or it's not. And I'm going to tell you why it's important to know what it is. Because I also hear a lot of people saying it doesn't matter what it is, HS sucks anyway. True, but I'm also going to tell you why it's important to know the facts about your disease. So let's start off with my first topic today, which is research. So there's been a lot of research done lately on HS. Many people don't know this, but since 2013, there's been hundreds, literally hundreds of studies and trials about HS in various topics, from hair follicles, glands, things like autoimmune, autoinflammatory, loads. So as far as thinking that HS hasn't a lot of research, at this point that is now untrue. It's fairly researched, and they already have a lot of different kinds of conclusions from that, even though they don't know the cause yet. Because even though they know what happens after the cause, what the main thing is that causes it is still unknown, as we know. And this makes it hard to find treatments. So since 2013, research has been booming HS-wise. So to say HS is now under-researched is not a valid comment anymore, because there is a lot of research out there with also many conclusions that are kind of rock solid. So they kind of know that it is a hair follicle where something is happening and that the glands part is secondary. So a lot of people still think it's a gland disease. This is actually an assumption before 2013. After 2013, there were so many studies done on the follicles that they now know that everything that happens in the sweat glands is secondary and not first. So the same goes for markers and pathways, the autoimmune versus autoinflammatory. It's one of the most researched topics within HS. They don't know the cause, but they have a pretty clear image what happens after the thing that causes it. And today I'm going to talk about that. So first of all, what happens in your body? What did they find in research? What happens in your body? Mainly around after what causes it, because the cause, they know there's a keratin plaque forming, there's like a dysfunction there in our body. They don't know why, but there's a dysfunction in our body which clogs our hair follicles. And with that, our hair follicle swells up and then it breaks open under the skin. And with that, the immune system responds with inflammation. So this is what makes your spots red and painful and oozing and pussy and bloody and all those kinds of stuff. That's because of the direction of your immune system. So the immune system is actually very, very complicated. What a lot of people don't know about the immune system is that it's not one part. The immune system is not one whole. So, for example, this is what I made to show you in a way that you can literally see what happens inside your body. So this is your immune system, this little clear box. But your immune system, if you dissect it, is not one part. So if we take off the top of the immune system, inside the immune system you have two, what they call pathways. So they are separate pathways doing their own thing. One is called the adaptive pathway, which we are calling A today. The other part is called the innate immune system, which we are calling I today. So they are both there in our immune system, and they both can create inflammation. So with autoimmune diseases, researchers know that our adaptive immune system releases markers. So markers are actually little, how can you call it? They're little particles that they can find in blood or biopsies, or if there's an autoimmune reaction inside your body. So as soon as you have an autoimmune reaction, your adaptive immune system releases those particles into your bloodstream, into your system. And with special testing, they can find those markers. So they can find that there's an autoimmune response. The same goes for the innate immune system. As soon as the innate immune system is activated, it releases its particles, which are sometimes based on the same stuff, but are looking very different. So they have their own little codes. So as you can see, the ones are green and the other ones are red. So they can see the difference in blood and they can see the difference in biopsies. So what did they find with HS? And this is now the home question of this video. So all the studies they've been done, and there are a huge amount of studies being done on markers and pathways. All the studies that have been done within HS proved one thing, and one thing only. And this is very important to tell. There's literally not one study that can prove in any way that the adaptive immune system, aka autoimmune, is present inside the reaction within HS. There is literally none. So this is what I found so far, and this is what the doctors that I work with are telling me. So if you find otherwise, please link below the research transcripts that claim otherwise, because I would love to read them, because I love to know every single part of this disease. But so far, they did not find it. And the chances that they are going to find it are basically slim to none. And this is why they did many different kinds of studies on HS patients with just HS, or patients with HS and autoimmune diseases. And they could not find in the biopsies of the skin of HS affected spots any adaptive markers, not even if somebody had an autoimmune disease. So for the chance of them finding in the future that HS is an autoimmune disease is slim to none, because it's pretty easy to find in blood, it's pretty easy to find in skin. They have many different advanced techniques that they all tried with HS, and none of them was able to find not even a hint of autoimmune. What they did find was a lot of inflammatory markers. So this is what happens with your HS. As soon as your hair follicle blocks, your hair follicle widens in your skin and then bursts open inside your skin, your innate immune system releases a lot of different markers which create your inflammation with your HS. So this is what research finds. Again, I can't change your feeling. If you feel it's autoimmune, that's your right. But if you basically look at the facts, there is not a single proven part that says it's autoimmune. So this is pretty interesting, because what we found when we asked a lot of people with surveys, is HS autoimmune or not? Basically 80% of the people respond with yes, HS is autoimmune, and 10% of those people say it's both autoimmune and autoinflammatory. And in the next part of this video, I'm going to explain to you why a lot of people think that, and that is actually pretty logical that they think that. So let's dive into that part. I've written down a lot of things that I found that are the most frequent used arguments that people use to rectify their autoimmune logic. Because again, it's pretty logical that they do that. There's a lot of sense in why people feel or think that it's autoimmune. So one of the things I hear a lot is that there's not enough research being done, which is actually untrue, because this is one of the most researched topics within HS. I will link you below. There is a transcript where they reviewed the 32 biggest studies between 2013 and 2017 into this topic. And all of the big studies, and also the little ones later on, they found the same thing. There's only inflammatory markers, there are no autoimmune markers. So there's a lot of studies being done. But why don't people know this? Well, for one, your doctor is not telling you all the research there is. They don't have the time for that, or they don't know the research is there. So how can you find this research? Only by Googling, and then you have to know what to search for, what kind of search words you have to put in the engine to get the real medical transcript. So again, not websites or dermatology sites or whatever, but the real research transcripts with their conclusions. So it's pretty hard to find. It's not easy to find the facts. So this is one of the things, the lack of communication about new research. I basically think that's one of the reasons why people still think this is an autoimmune disease. So another thing I hear a lot is, my doctor told me it's an autoimmune disease. So this could be two reasons why he told you that. One, he is not updated with his research. Most doctors, especially general practitioners, need to know about every single disease. They don't have the time to know the research, the latest research of every single disease. Then there's also dermatologists. They are basically the same, because the dermatologist most of the time doesn't only treat HS. It treats all the things there are about skin. So also skin cancer and all the things that are known about that. And compared to many other diseases, HS is still a disease that it's not rare, but not many people go to the doctor with their HS. So for them, it's like not that important. So a lot of doctors don't know all these new studies. Many even think it's still a sweat gland disease. So we all know that with most doctors, ER doctors, nurses, etc., we still have to explain to them as a patient what this disease is. Doctors keep saying to us, oh, you are contagious, or you need to lose weight, or all those kinds of things. All point to that doctors really hardly know anything about this disease, and that we as patients know more about this disease than they do. So this is one of the reasons your doctor probably doesn't know. Another reason is the term that doctors use. It's a pretty complicated way to explain what the difference is between autoimmune and innate immune. So again, they don't have the time for that. A lot of patients, it's hard for them to understand. So what they do is they use terms like immune reaction or immune response, which is what happens. But a lot of patients only know autoimmune, so they automatically think, oh, then it's autoimmune. But that's not what your doctor is saying. It's saying it's a reaction of the immune system, what it is. But your immune system contains two parts, two pathways, as they call it. So he is saying its immune response is correct, but the way you link it in your head to autoimmune is incorrect. So this is also another reason why this happens. Another thing I hear a lot is, I have other autoimmune diseases. This makes my HS autoimmune. Again, they did research about this topic as well. They researched patients that had HS as well as an autoimmune disease. And the difference between the blood and the biopsies really showed that HS, even if you have it secondary to an autoimmune disease, is not autoimmune itself. It still only contained autoinflammatory markers. So this is proof that HS itself is not autoimmune. But, and this is also one of the confusions, and why it's pretty logical that people with autoimmune diseases and HS think that their HS is also autoimmune, is because HS is known as a disease that next to it has the higher chance of getting autoimmune diseases. And the same is the other way around. If you already have an autoimmune disease, the chance that you will get HS is higher. So this is also where people get the information that is there and link it in a wrong way. So the fact that you also have autoimmune diseases doesn't make your HS autoimmune. It makes your other autoimmune disease autoimmune, but your HS is still autoinflammatory. And they can provoke each other, they can inflammate each other, yes, but your HS still, there's only proof that HS also in those cases is also autoinflammatory and not autoimmune. So another thing is, what I hear a lot is that people say it's different with everybody. I think this is linked to the fact that triggers with HS are different for everybody. We also know that some people have food triggers, others don't. Some have hormone triggers, others don't. In the case of triggers, that's true. But in the case of HS being autoinflammatory or autoimmune, it's the same for every single HS patient. There is not one study, they found one HS patient and they tested thousands of them in these studies that found even one patient that had HS that was autoimmune. So it's not different. In this case, it's not different per patient. But I get why people think that, because HS is so different for everybody. The fact that I get Humira means it's autoimmune, because Humira is given for autoimmune diseases. Part of this is true. Humira is given for autoimmune diseases, but it's also given for autoinflammatory diseases. And I can show you why. Humira itself is a biologic that blocks an inflammatory marker. So one of these little things inside your adaptive and innate immune system. And this marker is called TNF. I can show you, it's on my markers here. It's called TNF. It's a special marker that creates inflammation. What is interesting to know is that both the adaptive immune system as the innate immune system release TNF, but they can see the difference because, well, I used colors here. In real life, they don't have different colors, but they have different numbers. They gave them in research different numbers. So they can see the difference between TNF spread by the innate immune system and TNF spread by the adaptive immune system. And with HS, TNF is found a lot within HS patients. But it's the TNF, they can see it coming from the innate immune system and not the TNF coming from the adaptive immune system. So again, the reason why you're getting Humira for your HS has nothing to do with the fact that it's autoimmune. It has to do with the fact that it's a TNF marker that can inflammate your, that gives the inflammation reaction. So this is the reason why they give Humira, and Humira works both on the innate immune system as well as the adaptive immune system. So also that has nothing to do with the fact that it's autoimmune. It has to do with the immune reaction itself. So this is a pretty good way to explain that. Then we hear a lot that it's both autoinflammatory and autoimmune. And again, there's no proof for that. The only proof that is out there in research, and again, it's researched a lot, and they literally tried to find autoimmune multiple times. They only found autoinflammatory in every single case. So with every single HS patient, the chances that they find autoimmune is basically zero. So again, research over and over again, it's not both. It's just autoinflammatory. And another thing we heard is I found a site or multiple websites that say it's autoimmune. The difference between a website and a transcript from a research is huge. So a research transcript is approved by a medical guild. So they to get a publication of your research, you have to follow specific rules. So as soon as the publication is up, it went through many layers to see how valid that publication is, how valid the conclusion is, and how high-ranking those doctors were that did that research. With a website, it's different. Anybody can make a website. Today, I can write on a website that water is red, and it's there. It doesn't mean it's true, but I can write it. There are people can write that the earth is flat, and that doesn't make it true. So it's the same with this. Just a website, a dermatology website, even an HS patient website, it can put it up there, but it doesn't necessarily make it true. The only way for you as a patient to really know what is the truth with every part in life, but mainly also with your HS, is to really read the medical transcripts of studies. And that's boring for most people, not for me, because I'm like a fact geek and I find HS as well, hell, as pretty interesting. But for most people, they don't have the time, or they don't have the intense feeling that they want to read this boring stuff with a lot of words in there that they don't even know what it means, including me. But it's the only way to know for sure, or to talk with a HS researcher in him or herself and literally ask these questions and ask them to explain to you fully, not only is it autoimmune and then you will get the reaction, it's an immune response, because that's not the full reaction. So only if they give you the full story behind it, you will know what the research is there without reading it. So these are the main things that we hear. So this is the main things that I explained to you today. A lot of times we hear, why are you making a discussion about that? Because it doesn't matter. HS is hell, and it doesn't matter if it's autoinflammatory or autoimmune. I completely disagree with that, and I can tell you why. The main point why it's important is HS awareness. The only way when we get full awareness is if we share the truth, if we share the facts, if we know our disease to the fullest and share that with others. So that's the main point. Then we all know most doctors and nurses are not expert in this disease. If we can't tell them correctly what this disease is, they can't treat us correctly. If we can't give them the facts and the research transcripts so they know what to give us, they will give us the wrong stuff. And we all have been there, or most of us have been there, on the ER where they just launched you without question or let you leave without painkillers because they just don't know this disease, or told you that you were contagious or that it was staph or whatever. We all know the things. It's important that we can tell them that what this is, and then they know how to treat us, and also make them think, oh, maybe I need to look up this research if they are so sure that this is it. Another reason is for further research. The only way if HS patients scream out loud how important this disease is and research into a cause so we can get a cure, any part that can contribute to that is important. And this discussion, even though some people say it's not an important discussion, is important. Otherwise it wouldn't be as heated in all these groups. People think it's important. People think they want to know what this disease is. And the only way to do it is in ways like this, to tell people, to share the links, which I'm doing with you, to all these studies that prove or disprove things. This is the only way to do it. And it's healthy to have this discussion, even if it's heated, because sometimes a heated discussion can bring the truth up. And the truth is always important, especially in a disease like this, where there is such a lack of knowledge among everybody. It's extremely important. So I hope this video is going to help you. Again, if you don't approve with my conclusions, it's up to you. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to get the truth out there, to share awareness, and hope that you will understand your disease a little bit better now and understand why it's important that you know things like this. Because if doctors don't know it, we patients need to make sure they do. And the only way is if we are going to tell them. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, always feel free to send me a message on Facebook or on YouTube. And for now, I'm saying good night. Because it's night here, as you can see at the lights. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.